God, that's such a scary waking up noise. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark in here. The blackness of a coffin drifting in the abyss. Oh, right. The light. Yeah, nyctophobia be like that. You grasp for the switch. Flip it. The familiar cramped room with a steel door and no windows comes into view. You emerge from the bedroom fully awake, just like yesterday. You know what, there are obviously some downsides to, being a vampire. But, if I could just wake up every morning 100% awake, or every night, I guess, I wouldn't mind having to prey on my fellow man as if he were little more than cattle. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. This time, however, Sophie is waiting for you, comfortably seated in your living room space. A book in her hand. The Melancholy of Resistance. The title's sure on brand. Good evening, Lamar. How did you get inside the apartment? After a long and spirited battle, I managed to defeat the lock. She produces a keychain with a faceted emerald at the end, and jingles it in the air with a wry smile. It's my apartment, remember? Come, we have an appointment. I received word Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. There should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. She keeps talking as you walk downstairs and get in the car. Gregory gives you a slight nod and a small smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car when you take your seat in the back. Most of the Primogen Council is bound to be there at least. At least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities you do well to at least learn about. More politics, huh? Great. Sounds delightful. You should get used to it. We kindred love our scheming and our nightly dance macabre. Here in New York City, it's relatively local and harmless, all told. Times are changing, though. She stopped herself and seems to be gathering her thoughts for some moments, while shooting you a scrutinizing glance in the rearview mirror. There are power plays put in motion decades, even centuries ago, which are only now bearing fruit. Being immortal gives us plenty of time to think about our next move on the chessboard. It wouldn't hurt to start thinking about yours, as long as you discuss it with me, of course. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron. I have a reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it. There it is. She might have saved you. She might be protecting and teaching you. But it's clear what she's really concerned about. Her own interests. Well, if there's one thing that Lamar learned from being a professional artist, it's how to walk around and kiss bite. You step into the art hall with something of a bad memory. The last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down, and your existence nearly ended. But tonight, there is very little outward hostility. Yes, Kadir gives you a look that's definitely intended to remind you of your place. But the prince, also in attendance, seems pleased to see you. Welcome, Sophie. Lamar. Did I get that right? Good evening to both of you. I understand there is somebody else you wish to present to the court tonight? Yes, Prince. They will be joining us shortly. My assistant is retrieving them presently. This better be worth the prince's time, Langley. The prince gives Kadir a cold glance. Forgive the sheriff's harshness. He's in a particular foul mood tonight. Something to do with Lamar's begetter eluding his grasp, I believe. Ouch. That must have hurt his ego, even if his only reply is a crooked smile. The mention of your sire makes you feel a pang of emotion again. Whoever he was, he left a lasting impression. One reinforced with your visit to the show space last night. That's the past. Right now, though, you're back in the gallery, and are reminded of your sister instead. Emma frequents this place. Is she aware of these clandestine meetings after dark? The flaring up of whispers in the gallery hall breaks you out of your thoughts. Gregory enters the room, the jumpsuit-clad, inert vampire still staked on his shoulder. The show's about to start. Sophie's driver places his charge in the middle of the room and nods respectfully to Kadir. Sorry. The sheriff approaches the vampire and removes the stake from his chest. The captive's eyes flicker to life, and he starts looking around in disbelief. Like a cornered animal, he backs out on all fours, keeps going in circles until he realizes he's trapped. Kadir steps on the man's chest and pins him to the floor. Why, who do we have here? Oh, fuck. Ah, shit. No, come on, don't. Silence. The sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he's a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. The beast inside you shrieks, but you could swear it happens in unison with the instincts of some of the other guests here tonight. It's unlike anything you've experienced in his company during your turbulent first night as a vampire. He really did go easy on you, all things considered. It seems like it takes all of the hoodlum's willpower to not crawl into a fetal position and start crying. No, please don't hurt me, man. Don't. You and me are going to have a little talk downstairs, at the prince's discretion. Please, go ahead, my sheriff. You heard the prince. Get up. Let's go. He doesn't wait for confirmation. He just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming, out of the room. Conversations start all around you. Some whispered, some quite overt. Sophie looks somewhat bored of the whole affair, her eyes wandering from art piece to art piece, clearly finding nothing to her particular liking. For how cultured you all seem, torturing someone in an art gallery doesn't seem to faze you. Oh, please, do keep your naivete to yourself. Power and violence have always been two sides of the same coin. Most of us here are far too old to bother with keeping up appearances. Excuse me. Sophie leaves your side and go to a corner of the gallery, where a group of kindred, some seemingly pretty old-fashioned, gathered. A concierge offers you a drink, still warm. It smells nice. Just a sip to start you off. A splash over your palate, coating your tongue and the inside of your cheeks. Nourishment. You're left to your own devices. You have a quick look around. The prince is currently talking to a dark-skinned woman that you recall seeing here those few nights ago. She has a cold but noble countenance to her. Their conversation seems to be casual. A loud, shrill laugh turned your attention to the bespectacled man who you saw with Sophie on the night of your judgment. He's making the rounds, chatting up different patrons. You feel somebody's eyes on you. A casually dressed, plain-looking man stands alone near a column, watching you. He turns his gaze away sheepishly when he realizes you've noticed. Let's talk to this fellow. There's something about this guy. It's not that he's staring at you. Most everyone in the room has, or one point or another. It's how he does it. He seems shy, maybe even afraid. It's hard to find a secluded spot in the gallery tonight. This guy has an entire corner of the room to himself. He's standing alone, no glass in hand, just a look of worry as you approach. You look worried. Something wrong? What? Besides hanging out with blood-drinking monsters and acting like it's not a big deal? No, I guess it's business as usual. His bitterness is palpable. Sorry. Having a bad night. My name's Larson. Or you could call me Robert. Either's fine. So, do you have a role in this court, or you're just here for the company? That's a loaded question. I'm usually one of Prince Panhard's Primogen. Tried saying that 3 times fast. I'm here on business, in case the Quince requires my insight. Usually so she can hear me out before she ignores me. Not sure if you were paying attention the other night, but when the prince mentioned diverging opinions on whether you should be executed or not, that was me. I was the diverging opinion. It's huge. Thank you, even if it didn't change the prince's mind. Yeah, it's usually how it goes. Listen, I don't want to be rude, and I appreciate you reaching out, but word of advice? Stay away from me. Many vampires in this sect regard my position as Primogen to be kind of a joke, you know. You talk to me, they'll notice. They'll hold it against you. Okay. I was gonna make some comment like, ooh, I wonder what clan this guy is, but I know. I kept up with a lot of info on this game before it came out. I know this man's clan. You have a quick look behind you and see that a few of the kindred keep shooting you curious glances. One woman especially, a redhead boasting a fanciful hairstyle, watches you disapprovingly. Some of them already do, I imagine. Excuse me, I need to try and get a word in with a few Primogen members before Kadir returns. Enjoy your night. With just the critical looks of a few kindred to keep you company, you start thinking about who to pursue next. You notice Sophie mingling with other kindred, clearly in her element and not to be disturbed. Kadir hasn't come back yet, so you could probably still find time for at least one conversation. Oh yeah. No, I don't want to talk to the prince. I was gonna look back at the journal and see what all the options are, but I'm not talking to the prince tonight. She tried to kill me 3 nights ago. The man notices your attention, but it takes a few minutes before he pauses his mingling for long enough to actually approach him. He looks at you quizzically. Thomas Arturo. All these options are dumb, of course that's his name. What? Is this Tremere? It looks like Tremere. Pardon? It's my name. I assumed you'd like to know. I know you. By name only, of course. Lamar. Priest a few nights ago, huh? Oh, well. How's Undeath treating you? It takes some getting used to, for sure. Oh, it sure does. Sure does. Good thing we have an eternity to make the best out of it, right? He takes a moment to clean his glasses, ignoring you completely until he's done and puts them back on. I'm sorry, I got a bit distracted. You know, most of us don't need to wear these, right? I can see just fine without them. But it's a statement. Damn things keep catching specks of dust and other sort of shit, though. Never stay clean for long. Sometimes I thought he was saying what the statement was, and I was confused. Sometimes I think it's more trouble than it's worth. Wouldn't you say? Oh, good on you. Really. Bet they do. Oh, I hate him. Alright, that was a nice chat, but I have to catch up with a few other feathers tonight. Talk to you later. Genie! Hey, Genie! Doesn't even give you a chance to say goodbye. He's already off, grabbing 2 glasses of concierge tray and handing one to a mustachioed man nearby. A loud exchange near the staircase grabs everyone's attention. Kadir is back, and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes his unfortunate victim inside the room. The vampire that threatened you last night is a mess. That stupid hat still inexplicably on his head, covering some of his ruined face in a welcome shadow. He's barely conscious. His shin is broken, you think. Something protruding there, making a bulge in the pant leg. One arm seems twisted at a strange angle. Very little blood, surprisingly, but clearly a whole lot of hurt. Well, Kadir, did our guest cooperate? Tell the prince your name. It's Howard. And who do you run with, Howard? The Midnighters. And Anarch Coterie, my prince. Active for some time now, though. From what this one told me, the name is about the only legacy the group kept over the years. I see. Hey, Prince, I didn't mean it. I didn't know. I didn't... A loud crack as some of the guests audibly gasp, as Kadir's slap dislocates the man's jaw. A spray of blood creates something like an abstract art piece on the floor. This one is guilty of threatening a member of the Camarilla and claiming a domain without the prince's approval. That would be enough to pass with swift judgment, but he is also Anarch scum. My prince, there can be only one verdict. Final death. Do your duty, Sheriff. Unless, of course, someone would like to play at being a good Samaritan, like our dear Miss Langley a few nights ago. The look the prince serves you and Sophie is a cruel jest. Sophie takes it gracefully, smiling and slipping her arm into yours, in a strange public show of affection. Nobody says anything. The vampire named Howard jumps to his feet and makes for the window. Ooh, oof, 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 oof. Do I do it? Do I do it? Okay, here's the thing. I think Lamar feels bad that this guy's dying. But, like, obviously he's not gonna, like, I don't know, he's not gonna, like, interfere with it. So, I think just a way of justifying it to himself is, if I don't stop Howard from escaping, it's not my responsibility. So we're not gonna intervene. You have a feeling Howard's effort is fruitless. Just a few seconds later, that feeling is confirmed. He almost reaches the window. Almost, but not quite. What seems like the blink of an eye, Kadira appears near a scabbard sword in one corner of the gallery, and then appears next to the escaping anarch on the opposite side of the room. The next moment, Howard's head flies off his body, baseball cap free. His lifeless body crumples to the ground and begins to decompose in real time. It's an uncanny sight. As always, our sheriff does not fail to impress. I would like to thank Miss Langley for bringing this anarch thug to mine and Kadir's attention. I assume all have found the verdict satisfactory. It's a rhetorical question, and everybody here knows it. And I consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to you all. She steps out of the room, and you see that many of the guests motion to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with somebody, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what transpired. Probably have the time to strike up a conversation of your own, too. Kadir al-Azmai is still here, but clearly getting ready to leave, for one. Oh, so now we know his full name. Azmai or Azmai? Let me know in the comments. Both Larson and Arturo seem to have stayed around, too. One is still moping around, and the other still chatting with the remaining attendants, as if nothing happened in the meantime. Thomas, why not? And we need to suck up to the right people. Thomas has just finished talking to a few of the guests, who turn to the stairs and leave the gallery. He notices you approach. Hello again. So tell me, how is it to switch sides from victim to a member of the audience? I feel sorry for the guy. I brought him here. I mean, we did. Sophie did. He's dead because of what he did to me. It's weird. Is that regret I'm hearing? That's not helpful. When you start something, you can't just quit halfway through. You shouldn't, in fact. Say, I can tell you've been dying to ask me something, seeking me out and all. Here's your chance. Ask away, just make it quick, please. I have a meeting I need to attend. What's your role in the court? Do you hold any official seat? Official? No. I have some influences, though. They call kindred like me many names, most of them quite vulgar, so they stick with the most common, Harpy. Times were, our dear prince was one too. We all knew the ins and outs of who's who and what's what. There was our resident gunslinger Maz too, but he's old news. In short, you want to stay on my good side. But you're doing an admirable job of so far, being such a good listener and all. He gives you a small, theatrical bow. Lamar, so nice talking to you again. I'm off. Catch you another night. He waves one of his remaining acquaintances goodbye and leaves the gallery. It's right about then, Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Interesting evening, wasn't it? Come, Gregory's waiting downstairs. She seems preoccupied with something, not in a talkative mood. It's an awkward ride back to the city. This time, you arrive at another building, just 2 streets across from your apartment. She brings you upstairs, through a very nice lobby and a luxurious-looking hall, into her domain. Please, have a seat. I shall be right with you. You take in the surroundings. The apartment is like a gallery, an old-school smoking room you've seen in some period piece ones, and a nouvelle riche's living room, meticulously put together. Apologies. Old habits die hard. Clearly some stick with you even after death. She drags on the cigarette, breathes out, breathes. How is she doing that? Can you do that? Oh, yes. You might not know. It takes some practice, but you can keep smoking if you'd like. Other things, too. Experiment, you might surprise yourself. But I did not bring you here to show off. This is why I rest these nights. That door in the back? The bedroom, similar to yours. I have servants and bodyguards in addition, of course. I brought you here because I need you to trust me. When I told you before that I needed your best behavior to uphold my good standing with the court, I meant it. But that's not the whole story. I have your interest in mind, too. That's why I've given you your own haven. Why I'm trying to teach you how to navigate this new reality. But you need to trust me, or else this won't work out. You can come here whenever you feel like asking me something. When you're in trouble, too, though I hope that won't be too often. I would ask you to come here when you wake up tomorrow. I'll have something to discuss with you. Why not talk right now, since we're here together? I still need to follow up on a few things before we speak. Patience, fledgling. That's silence again. There's definitely something on Sophie's mind tonight, but she doesn't seem eager to share it with you just yet. I'm leaving for another visit. Come downstairs with me, we'll give you a lift. A quick trip, some polite goodbyes, and a promise that you'll show up tomorrow later. You open the door to your haven and gather your thoughts. It's exciting, in a way, being dragged deeper and deeper into the secret society and its rules. Whatever Sophie has planned for you, it's bound to teach you more about this thing you've become. You sink into your vampiric sleep with just a sliver of hope. It's a welcome change. Ooh. Alright. End of the 3rd night. How much time do I have left? I got time to do one more night, hopefully. Alright, let's keep going. In the next episode, ooh.